Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about ProLon. Over the years, I've had several people message me asking me whether I've ever tried ProLon, which is a fasting mimicking diet system that lasts for 5 days, co-created by Dr. Valter Longo, who is a researcher and professor out of USC. Although I had never tried ProLon before, it was supposed to be a plant-based system, so that prompted me to read his book, The Longevity Diet, and he does explain the system further in his book, which intrigued me. Because this video is so flippin' long, I want to help you navigate it depending upon whether you are an omnivore, a vegetarian, or a vegan. Because a lot of my followers are omnivores, they are not veggies at all. So if you are an omnivore and you just want to see what's in the system, what it entails, then I recommend that you look at the chapters below and just look at the beginning of each day, because I lay out all of my food and I read exactly what it is that's on my menu plan for each day. If, however, you are vegetarian or vegan and are considering the system, then I highly recommend that you watch the longer parts, which is going to be the initial unpackaging, day 1, which is where I discover a lot more problems, and day 2. This video took me an incredibly long time to film and edit. It's definitely the longest time I've ever spent editing a video, and so I really appreciate the thumbs ups. Please give this a like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. It really helps me out and it helps my channel grow and reach other people. With that being said, I hope you enjoy. The first thing I want to do is show you what I got in the big box that came from ProLon, and then to talk to you about something that I noticed right off the bat that I have a big problem with. So I got these fast bars, and the only reason why I got these is because with the deal they were doing, it was essentially free. Apparently this is what you can use after your 5-day fast is done in order to sort of help you out with your first meal or whatever it is. That's my understanding, but here's what I don't like. So it says plant-based protein, and these bars are allegedly in here in this box, which I have not yet opened. And Dr. Valter Longo, he says that ProLon is plant-based. However, if you look at the ingredients of not just this bar, but all of the bars, you will notice in the second line, in the very middle, it says honey. All right, so if you are purely plant-based, and if you are strict about that, honey, I don't know what makes anyone think that that comes from plants. It doesn't. Certainly if you're vegan, that's going to be a big problem for a lot of vegans, not all vegans. There's lots of debate about that, even in vegan communities, and I don't need anyone who's vegan to drop down a comment and say, there is no discussion, there is no... Yeah, if you're arguing it, you know that there is an issue here, because some people will say, well, if you get from local sources that you're actually helping out the bees, if the beekeepers care about their bees, and some local beekeepers do. But regardless of that debate, I don't even want to get into that, okay? Regardless of that, it just says honey. So there's no evidence that this comes from a local beekeeper. Okay, honey, right there. And this third one has honey right there. So that's going to be a big problem. All 3 of these contain honey. Even people who are plant-based, some people will say, well, that means that all of your diet, it's rooted in plants. It's based upon plants. And some people take that to mean that it's plant-based, meaning the foundation is plants, but they'll make exceptions here and there. Look, I'm not here to tell you what's what. I know how I feel. I know what I think. I know that I can't send this back. And I will say, though, that if the entire world ate just this way and did not consume the amount of animal products that the world currently consumes, we would be in a much better place. So I will concede that. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Is it a hell of a lot better than what we currently do? Yes, it is. The packaging, it's a bit excessive, which I don't like, but the good news is that this doesn't seem to be magnetized, which I like because it means it seems to be all recyclable. And it's pretty if you care about that. So in here, I've got the meal program, instructions, days 1 through 5, and this, I guess, is a little shaker for, I'm guessing, something that's in there. Good morning, everybody. So it's day 1. Now, when I weighed myself this morning, I was 159.5. I'm 5'11", so I am a tall lady, like I have said in some of my other videos, but that's beyond my comfort zone, so I'm fine to go ahead and do this fast. I don't feel like I'm underweight undergoing this ProLon experience. Let's find out what's in these packages. Here is my schedule. So for today, as you can see in day one, I'm supposed to have a bar, a tea, some sort of oil packet, which is really weird, a tomato soup, another packet, kale crackers, olive tea, another bar, a soup, and another bar. But let's open it. Let's take a look. In this section, you had the 3 bars. As you can see, one is like teeny, like a teeny little mini bar. Here's everything else kind of laid out. So that's the entire program. This is for 1 full day of eating. I'm honestly not really fazed by this, but that's because I've done straight up water fasting before under medical supervision, so I'm really not worried about this. This seems like it'll be fine. I'll tell you what's worrying me though is this. This is an omega-3 dietary supplement. Here are the ingredients. The reason why I'm concerned is because I do not know what that first ingredient is, and because since this is supposed to be a plant-based system and it had honey, it makes me concerned that this is a gelatin capsule, which wouldn't be suitable, forget for vegans, it wouldn't be suitable for vegetarians. So I'm going to ask and figure that out. One thing ProLon does is when you are going to fast, it sends you a little email and says, hey, when's your fast going to be? Because if you want to, you can get set up for, I don't know whether it's just like email support or reminders or whatever it is, but I signed up for that just to see what that's all about. But in the little corner, there's a chat bot, and you can open it up, ask your questions. That functionality is in the toilet. It seriously is in the toilet. I asked them about the gelatin capsule. I said, hey, because I need to look up what that first ingredient is, but I'm just curious, like, are you not putting what the capsule is made of? Or are you just putting other stuff that's in the capsule with it? What's the capsule itself made of? Because that should be in the other ingredients list, but nothing is there. Usually it'll say a veggie capsule or it'll say gelatin, and I want to know. The auto chatbot doesn't have anything related to that. So far I'm getting no information on that front, which is extremely frustrating. Oh, there's bonus soup in here. Yay. This is the first thing I'm supposed to have, and as you can see, it says plant-based right on there. And then I thought, well, how do you have a picture of honey? And then it says plant-based. The second ingredient is honey. I'm a little bit pissed off, to be honest. And I know that this can just be a difference of, definitions, but I'm really annoyed. I'm really annoyed. So my big moral quandary here is with things that I can't return. I already ordered these. They're perishable items. You can't return food, and I'm thinking, well, do I go ahead and go through with this? I'm going to for the video because I want people who are, questioning about whether they should be doing this and whether it would work for them or if the process is terrible or whatever. But I am faced with a bit of a moral quandary, which sucks. I'm sort of thinking like this is one of those situations where you go to a friend's house or a restaurant without them really even thinking or realizing that honey is not vegan. They're doing their best to make you a vegan food. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this, but if the capsule is made of gelatin, I absolutely draw the line at that. I cannot take a capsule that is made of gelatin. I absolutely cannot do that. So I have to make sure that that is a veggie capsule as soon as possible. I'm gonna get right back on the horn. I'm gonna try to call people. I'm gonna re-email people. I'm gonna do what I can because I can't take that thing if it's made out of gelatin. Ethically speaking, I just draw the line. This nut bar, other than the fact that I'm annoyed that it contains honey, it tastes like you would expect. It's a soft nut bar. It's good, it's fine. What's weird is that I normally don't have breakfast. Instead of a full breakfast with food and everything, what I normally have is my coffee, and I am kind of missing that ritual a little bit, but it's fine. Before I finish this bar though, I'm realizing I really do have to figure out that gelatin question because I'm supposed to have 2 of those omega-3s for breakfast, with the L bar. I checked back, I still don't have an answer to my question. So rather than waiting an eternity for somebody to get back to me, I'm just going to take my purely vegan DHA. This is by Dr. Furman. I don't always use this one because it's really expensive, but it lasts a long time. You can find vegan omega-3 DHA EPA on Amazon or whatever. The other supplement that I'm supposed to take now with my lunch is this NR1 stuff, and it has a lot of vitamins, minerals in there. So I was really hoping that that did not come in some sort of gelatin-like capsule so I wouldn't have to worry about it. And indeed, this is just a hard, compacted, it's basically a bunch of powder that's compacted. So it doesn't look like that's gonna be an issue with this. I'm gonna go ahead and take this. I won't hold off on it. This bar, which is my last bar of day 1, doesn't have any honey in it. There is none. Look at that ingredient list. It's got even sugar in it. I thought the honey was to replace the sugar, but here clearly they don't mind using sugar. And then brown rice syrup. That I have used in lieu of honey in plenty of recipes. So obviously they could do without the honey in the other bars as well. Day 1 is done, easy peasy, food's pretty good. Disappointed about the non-plant-based ingredients on what is supposed to be a plant-based package, but what can you do? At least now you know, and you'll be smarter than I was. Good morning, everybody. We're on day 2. Let's do this. On day 2, I'm supposed to have a nut bar, tea, mushroom soup, another multivitamin, olives, tea, olives, minestrone, and quinoa soup, and L-bar, which I like that L-bar, it's good, and that's the one that doesn't have any honey in it, and an L drink, which I am a little bit skeptical of. I'm really glad that I looked at the directions on this L drink before this evening, and the reason why I say this is because on day 2 the L drink appears way at the bottom. So what I would have done if I had just looked at the meal program is I would have waited till the end of the day to look at the L drink. Well, curiosity got the better of me, and I'm really glad, because apparently if you look at instruction number 3 on this thing, it says drink the 32 fluid ounce mix throughout the day. So that means I should start drinking this now. Another confusing thing about these directions that I want to sort of illuminate is it says using the weight scale, or using weight scale. It doesn't mean this weight scale, which is what I busted out. It means this weight scale that they put on the side of this bottle. Okay, so you don't actually need a weight scale at all. I want to give a little bit of an update to the whole gelatin capsule omega-3 saga. I still haven't heard back in the little chat bot on the website about whether the capsule is made of gelatin, but I think it is. And the reason why is because although I can't find any of that information on the English version of their website, I found the Greek version of their website, and although I do not speak Greek, when I hit the translate button, it translates everything but the headings into English. There it says that ProLon is a mostly plant-based system with honey and gelatin. And I don't see gelatin happening in any of the other ingredients so far. So my deduction is that the only place for that gelatin to exist is in those capsules. I've just spent a good amount of time writing an email to the company, and I included Dr. Longo in that email because I'm hoping that he will maybe read it, have some influence. I know that I'm not anybody special, but that's what I'm hoping for. I'm going to leave a link to that email below, and if this is something that you can get on board with also, then I encourage you to link to it and send them your own email. You can borrow ideas from it, whatever would inspire you to ask, because the more demand that exists, the more supply that's going to exist. It's always about supply and demand.
Here is the Instagram account for ProLon, and I really wish I would have found this before I wrote my email. But as you can see, They are clearly marketing this as a vegan product. I am so disgusted by it, and I call them out on my stories. Feel free to follow my Instagram for more information like this.
I noticed a couple of things. First, apparently you get an extra tea to put in your water. I got that as one of my tips that was emailed to me. So I did that. I like cold or lukewarm hibiscus tea a lot better than hot hibiscus tea anyway, so this works out. And I did the minestrone incorrectly yesterday because apparently you're supposed to cook it stovetop, so that's what I'm gonna do. Good morning, it's day 3. I am flippin' hungry, but let's do it. Today I'm supposed to have a nut bar for breakfast with a tea, for lunch tomato soup, another multivitamin, kale crackers. I love those kale crackers, those are super good. Another tea for my afternoon snack, which is not a snack because it's just a tea, whatever, that's fine. Minestrone soup and an L drink throughout the entire day. Here's what everything looks like all together. I had a leftover tea from yesterday. That was a lot of liquid and I was just not into it. So what I think I'm gonna do today is put the 2 hibiscus tea packets in my L drink, and that will be great. I will say that this L drink is a lot better with some hibiscus tea in it. There are a couple of things that I neglected to mention. One is that on day 1, I said that I was missing my coffee. Well, apparently you can have coffee. It's just that you have to have it black. And for me, I can if I absolutely have to, but it's no bueno. I prefer having like fancy coffee. Second is that I had a migraine start brewing about the last half of the first day. It was really, really hard to sleep that first night because of it. And that's a nice lady up there. So some people might say that that's because I didn't have any coffee, but really that's what happens to me every time I get into ketosis. So that is not new for me, but I didn't really want to film about it until it went away, and it took 2 full solid days to go away. And I'm having a little tiny bit of a headache, but not a migraine on day 3. So my husband decided to make his first ever attempt at sourdough today, right in the middle of this fasting mimicking diet. That's the perpetrator right there. Y'all, I am so tired. I just got up from a nap that I accidentally took, and I slept through yoga that I was supposed to do online with my BFF, Sad Bandit. Day 4. Here it is all laid out. Today I'm supposed to have a nut bar, tea, veggie soup, multivitamin, olives, tea, another packet of olives, which are pretty good, minestrone quinoa soup, an L bar. Again, I love those, and the L drink all day long. One thing that I find very interesting is that the amount of carbs that are in this diet, it's just surprising, because here in the bar, in the breakfast bar, it's 14 grams. Then in one of my soups, the total carbs is 24 grams. And in the other soup, the carbs, it's 24 grams. And so that adds up to more than what you would normally have if you want to be in ketosis. So it seems like this is really a protein fast. I mean, it's also super low calorie, so that's a big thing, but you have carbs, you definitely have fats here, but you don't have a lot of protein. And I have read before that the benefits of fasting really are more related to a protein fast than anything else. So that's really interesting. One great thing about this L drink is that it does seem to help out whenever I'm hungry. I am honestly loving these soups. I think they're really good. Good morning, day 5. Let's do it. today I'm supposed to have a nut bar, a tea, an omega-3, which I'm totally not gonna have because I'm gonna have my vegan version instead, tomato soup, multivitamin, kale crackers, tea, minestrone soup, and the L drink throughout the day. Let's get started. I'll tell you, I'm actually really glad that this is the last day, and it's not because this is difficult. If you have fasted before ever, if you've done a water fast, this is 1,000 times easier, and the food is actually pretty good. The only food I did not like was the mushroom soup. Everything else I really enjoyed, but the reason why I'm glad this is day 5 and that I'm done tomorrow is because I'm just getting a little bored, but that's fine. It's not a big deal. Well, that's it. Day 5 is basically in the bag. I just have some tea to finish up, and we'll see what happens tomorrow morning on the scale. I have a lot more energy today than I did the previous days, so that's a good sign, and I'm feeling great. So that's it. This is my day 6. This is the day after I finished the 5-day ProLon Fasting Mimicking Diet, and I weighed myself this morning. I'm at 153.8, so that is almost a full 6 pounds down from where I was at the beginning. I'm not gonna kid myself. I know that that's not 6 pounds worth of fat, and according to Dr. Jason Fung, you lose about an average of a half a pound each day of fasting. So at most, I've lost 2.5 pounds worth of fat, but that's worth it to me. All in all, do I recommend this? If you are an omnivore, hands down, yes, especially if you've done any fasting before, any water fasting before, or juice cleansing before. This is a lot easier than that. If you have never done any type of fasting whatsoever, then you're probably going to find the low calorie nature of this system to be a little bit difficult or challenging. But in my opinion, it's definitely doable. Was I hungry? Yes, I was hungry, but I'm familiar with hunger because, again, I have water fasted before. So it just really did not faze me. If you are a vegetarian or a vegan, do I recommend this system? If you're veggie for the animals, then no, I do not recommend this system. If you're veggie for any other reason, then that really is going to be up to you. Will I be doing this again? No, because I am vegan for the animals. I really trusted the whole plant-based thing, and just know that plant-based does not necessarily mean vegan, even though this is being marketed as vegan, which is wrong. I will be trying to create my own fasting mimicking diet, and Dr. Valter Longo, in his book, The Longevity Diet, he does explain how you could go about doing that, even though he recommends against it, because he says, well, of course, anything we create hasn't been tested, and ProLon has. Still, I think I get the gist. I'm going to have a go of it, and I will try this again probably in about a month, but I will try it my way. That is a truly vegan way. And if it works out, you can bet your butt I'm going to be making a video about it. That way all of my vegetarian and vegan friends have an option. Again, this video took so long to film and to edit. Please give it a thumbs up. I so appreciate it. I love you guys. Subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, ciao.